debunking 10 myths about degree apprenticeship CVs. In this video, I'm going to debunk 10 popular myths you might have heard about degree apprenticeship CVs, exactly what it says on the tin. Just before we do that, let me introduce myself. My name's Owen. I'm a degree apprentice and I help people get degree apprenticeships in the engineering, technology and finance industries. Here are some people I helped last year get them degree apprenticeship from companies like Amazon, HSBC, JLR, Rolls-Royce, just to name a few. Without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first myth is that you don't need a CV these days, and this is being spread because there are a few companies who are starting to do more modern methods of application where they are basically not asking for a CV. Okay, so that's where this is coming around, people saying you don't need a CV. But I just want to say, in general, most companies are still asking for a CV. Okay, it's just a minority of companies that are now doing something else, but like 90% of them are still asking for a CV, so you're going to need to submit one for most cases. The next one is your CV should only be one page. A lot of people say that if you make it too long, the recruiters won't read it, etc., etc., etc. You need to keep it on one page. Well, actually, I did the complete opposite of this advice. All my CVs were 2 pages, and I managed to get 8 degree apprenticeship offers. The way I see it is if you do 1 page, you're basically going to fit in half the amount of stuff that you would in 2 pages. Okay, so yes, it's a bit longer for the recruiter to read, but you're missing out on so many opportunities if you do 1 page. If you make it 2 pages, then there's basically double the amount of work experience, double the amount of achievements, double the amount of skills you can show off, and can make you basically 2 times as good as a candidate. So 100% make your CV 2 pages if needed, and I would actually recommend making it 2 pages so you can just fit a quantity of experience and achievements on there. All of my CVs were 2 pages long and I got 8 degree apprenticeship offers. Another myth is you can use one CV for all your applications. So a lot of people, they go through the process of making a CV. It's kind of long, yeah, it takes you a couple of hours. And then that's that. They get their final CV and they just submit that exact one. They send it off to every single company. And then they're complaining that they've sent it off to 30 companies and they got rejected by everyone. Because the thing is here, you can't just use the same one for all of your applications because these companies are getting so many applications. Degree apprenticeships are so popular. There's thousands of people applying for each one. If you just have some generic CV which you've just written for every company, it's not going to stand out compared to someone who's personalized it and tailored it for the company. Okay, so that's what you need to do. You must personalize your CV for each and every application. Okay, and that can sound difficult because, okay, do you have to write a fully new CV for each company? No. Well, what you can do is you can just make a base CV. Okay, so you just make one CV at the very start, and then you just make tweaks. You make personalizations for each company. So you're not having to do it from scratch every single time, but it's like for each company, you'll go and look at this sort of base CV, this template CV you've made. You'll cut out this bit, you'll add in this bit, you'll change this bit, you'll tweak it, and then basically each CV is different, but it's on the same structure, so it doesn't have to take you loads and loads of time making a completely new one each time. The next myth is you must include a photo. I've heard this one going around, and this is one you do not want to do, okay? Because especially these days, companies do like anti-discrimination, like blind, they try and do blind applications where they don't see your face, they don't know your name, all this sort of stuff, so that they don't have like unconscious bias, that sort of thing. So there are recruiters who might actually reject your application if it includes a photo because it won't be in line with that unconscious bias, discrimination, like blind testing sort of thing that they're going for. Okay, so just don't include a photo. It's about you as a candidate, not how pretty you are or whatever, right? You must use a template. Okay, a lot of people, when they're making CVs, they spend a lot of time trying to work out how to make their CV look good. They try and get a template, they go and download a template, get some nice colors, get some nice like symbols, all this sort of stuff, trying to get something that looks like this on the left. Well, in fact, you don't need that at all, okay? Because this CV on the right, this is what I submitted, as I said, to all of my applications, and I got 8 degree apprenticeship offers. This is literally me just writing in Word, didn't even change the font. That's like Calbury Light, 14 font size there, 12 font size for like the rest of it, and I underlined the titles. Nothing fancy like this, but it got me 8 degree apprenticeship offers, because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, if it looks cool, your template looks cool, that's great, but at the end of the day, it's about the content, okay? If your content is really good, that's what's going to get you the job. Okay, if you have a nice fancy template but you have no work experience, you haven't written it very well, your skills aren't very good, all this sort of thing, then it's not going to help you out. It's more important to have the actual content than the template. So what I'd recommend is, if you want to make it look professional, have a template, fine, no problem, but I'd recommend do that at the end, okay? Because people, they, as I said, they just start off with a template and it's just procrastinating. Like they're like, oh, I've got an hour, shall I start working on my CV? And they spend an hour scrolling through templates. No, you want to spend an hour writing your CV, do the hard work, basically write it into literally a blank Word document like this, and then once you've like got that blank Word document and you've filled it out, all the text is there, then you can do a template if you have time. But it's more important to make sure you're getting all the content down than worrying about like what it looks and what color and what little font you want to use and all this sort of stuff. Okay, so only use a template if you have time at the end of writing everything. Otherwise, you're just procrastinating. You should use ChatGPT. I've actually seen some people online recommending you should use ChatGPT for your CV. I do not recommend that at all because, of course, ChatGPT is a thing. You can just put in like, write me CV, write me cover letter. It's dead easy, right? The problem is, I've spoken to recruiters about this. They can tell when it's a ChatGPT application, the applications actually aren't very good, right? Because they're just so generic. ChatGPT is so generic. It does the same thing every time. So every single person's application who's put in write me a CV, they're all going to look the same. They're all going to look like ChatGPT. ChatGPT doesn't understand how to get into degree apprenticeships, right? So it's first of all, it's not going to give you a good application. But second of all, it's also going to mean you're not actually going to understand the application process. Because if you just tell it to write your CV, write your application questions, write your cover letter, you get through to the interview and the interviewer asks you, what are your strengths? You've got no idea because you've never written about your strengths before. You actually learn so much making your CV. You learn so much about yourself. You learn, oh, these are my strengths, this is this. When they ask you in the interview, what's your weakness? You're going to have no idea. When they ask you in the interview, when have you worked as a team? You have no idea because you just use some random example from ChatGPT which you don't remember. But if you've actually put in a couple of hours into writing your CV, you're going to know how to answer it. I've seen people who have used ChatGPT for their CV, they don't perform well in interviews. It's like correlated. If you spend lots of time on your application, you literally automatically do better in your interviews because you understand the process better than if you just use ChatGPT. Okay, so just don't use ChatGPT. And a lot of applications as well these days, they put it through like AI detecting software. So if they like detect it and you get kicked out, it's just not worth it, right? Just spend a couple of hours on making your CV, making your application questions, making your cover letter, whatever it is. But especially on your CV, make sure you're doing it properly. Okay. This is one I see a lot. So I actually do, like, I give people feedback on their CV because I've helped people get into loads of different companies. I've seen so many CVs that I can offer guidance basically to help people get into these companies. And this is what I see come up again and again and again, is people putting in their CV just a list of their skills. So it looks something like this. They'll have like a key skills section in their CV and they'll just bullet point a few things. Communicative, works well in a team, problem solving, interpersonal skills, perseverant, growth mindset. But I've spoken to recruiters about this, and the thing is they don't believe you. When you put something like this, how do I know that's true? Anyone could just write this in a bullet point. Like I could write in a bullet point that I'm communicative and work well in a team, problem solver. But how do they know you're not making it up? Okay, listing your skills actually does nothing for you because they don't believe it. Instead, you have to apply these skills to examples, put it into context, show evidence that you actually have these skills rather than just doing a bullet point of them. Okay, so you want to demonstrate them through your experience and through your achievements. Rather than just saying you're communicative in a bullet point, say that you delivered a presentation to 100 people and that required communication skills. Then they're like, oh, okay, he's I believe this because he's done it to 100. Rather than just saying you work well in a team, just say you instead say I've been part of my school's football team for 3 years and this requires teamwork between the different team members so we can do tactics and all this sort of thing. And then they're like, oh yes, this guy actually is a good team worker because he's been in the football team for 3 years, not just because he wrote a bullet point on a piece of paper. Okay, so you want to make sure you're demonstrating your skills through your experience and achievements. As I said, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they send their CV over to me for expert feedback, basically. So if you, by the way, just to interrupt for a second, if you want a winning CV which gets you through the application process, then you can send me your CV for an expert CV analysis. We've had some really good reviews. You can pause it here and just have a read of those. But if you want to, you can just click the link in the description for expert CV analysis. You send me over your CV and I'll give you personalized video feedback, actionable steps, and work experience of just anything I can see to improve your application. And it'll basically help you get into some of these big companies you're interested in. If you want that, go click the link in the description. Let's continue with the video. Another myth that I see is don't put down anything irrelevant. Okay, so if it's something like don't put hobbies down, don't put interests down, don't put sports teams down, don't put musical instruments down, okay, because they're irrelevant, right? That's what I hear people say. If you're applying to an engineering degree apprenticeship, then you should only put stuff to do with engineering. Like that's what I've seen people say. But the problem with that is it's actually missing a trick, right? Because a lot of these irrelevant things, right? So playing football, going to the gym, playing chess, playing musical instrument, like going hiking or something, they actually show off some really good soft skills. Okay, and at this level, degree apprenticeship level, because most of us were just coming straight out of school, we've never actually done the job before. Like if you're doing an engineering degree apprenticeship, you've never actually probably done engineering before. It's not just about like the relevant stuff, the engineering related stuff. It's about the soft skills you have. Okay, your leadership skills, your communication skills, your teamwork skills, your attention to detail, your dedication, your perseverance, all this sort of thing. It's those soft skills that they're really looking for. And this is where these irrelevant things come in super useful. Okay, you can just see them here. If you say you go to the gym, it's like fair enough, it's irrelevant, but think about the soft skills it's showing. It's showing that you have dedication and perseverance to stay committed to the training plan. Okay, think about chess. Like, okay, chess is irrelevant if you're going in to do like a cybersecurity degree apprenticeship, fair enough. But think about the soft skills aspect of it. Chess, you have to think strategically. It enhances your problem solving skills. You have to have a strong memory, right? Those are 3 little soft skills that are going to be useful to apply to your degree apprenticeship to the cybersecurity role. Same with playing a trumpet, like playing the trumpet, playing a musical instrument, playing the violin, completely irrelevant to a finance degree apprenticeship. But it gives you attention to detail skills, it gives you organisation skills, time management skills, it gives you confidence, right? All of which are going to be useful in the finance degree apprenticeship. Does that make sense? That's why these irrelevant things are so important. So that's why you want to make sure you're putting down these irrelevant hobbies and interests and just demonstrating how they show off these soft skills such as leadership, teamwork, attention to detail, analytical skills, numerical skills, technical skills, all these sorts of things. Don't fall into the trap of like leaving them out. Anything, even if it's completely not related, just get it in there because it might have some soft skills which will look good to the employer. You must include references. This is what I see a lot on CVs. People put this sort of section at the end, references available on request, or they like list their references. You don't need to do this, okay? Because first of all, it's a waste of space, right? Because that could be 2 or 3 lines, which you could be putting something else. You could be putting your DOV in. You could be putting that you're part of a football team. You could have put in a different work experience. You could have said you've done this online course. Instead, you're wasting some line for some references. You don't actually need it. So references, if you don't know, is basically, for UCAS, when your teachers have to give you like a sort of reference saying you're a good student or whatever, that's what you have to do for like other jobs as well. That's what references are. They ask for these references at the very end. Okay, so they don't care at the references during the application process. It's basically once they've offered you the job, okay, they then check your references just to check you're not like a murderer or a criminal or anything crazy. You're just a kind of a normal person, right? So references are completely irrelevant until you've got the job. There's no point wasting the space. It's better to keep that space for putting in there an online course or a work experience or something like that. So don't include those references in your CV, okay? Next one, spelling mistakes are expected. Okay, oh yeah, there's loads of people applying. It's a long application. If I do a spelling mistake, they'll just understand it's just a mistake. I've talked to recruiters and they've said that if they see a spelling mistake, they'll just instantly reject it, right? Because again, it comes back to degree apprenticeships. They're extremely competitive. You have thousands of people applying to these roles. Okay, a spelling mistake might not be that minor, but think about what it signifies. It signifies you don't have attention to detail, you don't have dedication, maybe you didn't read over your application once. It's like if you're going to make a mistake like that in your application, maybe you're going to make more mistakes like that once you start the job. They just don't want you. And when they have like 1,000 other people applying, it's like, why would they take the person who can't even spell? Okay, so you have to have 0 spelling mistakes, 0 grammar or anything, because if you put any spelling mistakes, you're literally risking getting just kicked out immediately. Okay, don't make any spelling mistakes whatsoever. Make sure you spell check that, read it out loud, get someone else to read it. You don't want to be making those. Okay. And there we go. Those are the 10 myths about degree apprenticeship CVs. I hope this video has been useful. Once again, if you want my feedback on your CV, you can come and click this on the left. Or if you want to watch another video from me, click here on the right. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.